The movie tells the story of a dystopian future where single individuals are taken to a hotel where they will spend the next 45 days searching for a partner to fall in love with. If they fail to find someone during this time, they will be transformed into an animal of their choice. At the beginning of the film, we see a woman driving on the road. She stops in a field, gets out of her car, and kills a donkey by shooting it. Then we see a man named David, whose wife has recently left him for another man. He checks into the hotel, accompanied by his dog, who used to be his brother but was transformed into an animal because he was alone for too long. The hotel staff questions him about his sexuality and informs him that he has 45 days to fall in love and find a mate. After a brief interview, he is taken to his room. A little later, the hotel manager and her partner visit his room. She asks him what kind of animal he would like to become if he fails in his mission. David tells her that he wants to become a lobster because they can live for 100 years and remain fertile throughout their lives. The director is pleased with his choice because many people choose to become dogs, which is why the planet is full of dogs. Before leaving, a hotel worker handcuffs David's right hand to prevent him from touching himself, which is against the hotel rules. The next morning, David joins the others for breakfast. There he meets Robert, who is nearsighted, and John, an infirm. All the single people are called to talk about their unique traits and attributes. According to the rules, all single people must find a partner with whom they have common attributes, such as minor afflictions. As such, couples are considered more compatible. David wastes no time and approaches a woman with a bleeding nose, asking her to dance with him. Robert and John also begin their search for a partner. After the party, all the single people are taken to hunt other singles who have escaped into the woods to avoid being transformed into animals. The residents can extend their deadline by hunting the singles living in the forest, with each one they catch giving them an extra day to find a partner. They can hunt the singles by shooting them with tranquilizers, after which they must take them to the hotel to be transformed into animals. At the end of the day, everyone has managed to capture at least one person, except for David, who has captured no one. The hotel has many rules and rituals to help single people understand the importance of finding a partner. It is mandatory for each hotel resident to be challenged by maids, so they remain interested in quickly finding a partner. One day, Robert is caught touching himself, which is forbidden in the hotel. He is punished by having his hand burned in a toaster. While hunting, a woman tries to talk to David, but he is not interested. She offers him sexual favors, but he still isn't interested. So, the woman tells David that if he doesn't find a partner soon, she will commit suicide by jumping from her bedroom window. John sets his sights on a girl with a bleeding nose and tries to talk to her, but she doesn't seem interested. So, in order to win her affection, he intentionally smashes his nose against a wall or hard surface, causing it to bleed, and tells her it happens often. They eventually start a relationship, and they are announced as a couple and move to the largest room, where they have to spend a trial month together. Time passes, and David has only 7 days left before he will be transformed into an animal. Later that day, the woman who tried to seduce David jumps from a window to commit suicide. While screaming in pain, a cruel woman watches and doesn't even bother to help her. When David runs out of time, he decides to try with the woman who holds the record for capturing people in the forest. So he approaches her and pretends to enjoy the suffering of the woman who tried to end her life. Later, David joins the woman in a hot tub. Suddenly, he starts to suffocate and has difficulty breathing. But David does nothing to help her. It turns out she was just pretending and testing David to see if he would help her or not. She tells David that they can get along, and the two of them are announced as a couple. One morning, the woman wakes David up and tells him that she killed her brother by beating him. David suppresses his emotions and says it doesn't matter, but when he sees her brother's body, he can't hold back his emotions and ends up crying. The woman finds out and realizes that she has been pretending all along while wanting to take him to tell the hotel manager. David kicks her and runs away. With the help of a hotel worker, they tranquilize the cruel woman. The girl tells the worker to sedate her as well so that no one suspects her. Then she drags the cruel woman into a room and transforms her into an animal. Later, David escapes from the hotel and runs into the woods. There, he meets the leader of the single people, who welcomes him into the group. She warns him not to have any romantic or sexual relationships with anyone. He can't even flirt with anyone, or he will be punished. Unlike the hotel, the leader doesn't want anyone to start a relationship. One of the single women, who also has vision problems like David, looks at him and for a moment feels attracted to him. While hunting, Robert surprises David hiding in the woods. David tries to manipulate him, saying that he has been and is his best friend. While keeping Robert engaged in conversation, the single woman sneaks up on him and attacks him. Meanwhile, the hotel worker meets with the leader. It turns out that the hotel worker has been working for her for a while and meets her during the hunting to inform her about the situation at the hotel. The girl wants to leave the hotel and live with the single people. The leader tells her that this will be her last mission because they will attack the hotel very soon. David starts spending more time with the single woman. They both feel an attraction for each other, and eventually, they begin a secret relationship. Later that day, the leader informs her group that they will have to attack the hotel at night and explains each person's role. Later that night, they manage to sneak inside with the help of the hotel worker. David goes to the yacht where John and the woman with the bleeding nose are. He reveals that John has been faking his illness by hitting his nose against a wall or a hard surface, and tells them they are not suitable for each other. The leader goes to the hotel manager's room and holds the couple hostage. She asks the husband to shoot his wife if he wants to live, which he agrees to, but it turned out the gun is not loaded, and she just wanted to show the couple that they don't love each other. Later that night, the hotel worker joins the single people group and celebrates their victory. As the days go by, David and the single woman grow closer. They develop a secret language with signs to communicate with each other when they are among others. When they realize they can no longer be with the group, they decide to escape and stay together forever in the city. But before they can escape, the leader finds a journal by the river, which contains everything about the girl's relationship with David. She becomes furious about the betrayal but doesn't confront them. Instead, one day she takes the single woman to the city, claiming that she wants to cure her eye problem, but instead, she blinds her. When they return to the forest, the single woman realizes she has lost her vision forever. She attempts to kill the leader but ends up killing the hotel worker. The leader then decides to forgive the single woman, believing that David will leave her once he finds out they no longer share common attributes. The woman doesn't tell David about her condition and pretends not to be blind. Eventually, she decides to reveal that she can't see anymore. She was afraid that if David found out about her blindness, he would leave her. But David doesn't want to leave her and decides to stay with her. They start searching for common attributes they could share, but they can't find any. However, since David doesn't want to leave her, he suggests killing the leader and escaping to the city as they originally planned. One evening, David attacks the leader, ties her hands and feet, and throws her into an open grave. A little later, wild dogs come there and eat her alive. After that, David and the single woman escape from the forest and head towards the city. They stop at a restaurant where David asks a waiter for a steak knife. Then he goes to the restroom, where he intends to blind himself with the knife so that he and the woman will have matching attributes. The movie ends here, and it's not clear whether David blinded himself to be with the woman or if he fled, leaving her alone at the restaurant.